What's up, everybody? The UFC's Bantamweight Division is no doubt the best division in the entire UFC from top to bottom. The top 15 is crazy, and I believe that this division is the most competitive because there is such a diverse set of skills amongst all of the fighters that are ranked in the division. And in this video, I'm going to be pointing out the best representatives for each category inside the division, breaking down the best striker, wrestler, most well-rounded fighter, the most durable, best fight IQ, best submissions, footwork, and unpredictability. So let's hop right into this thing, starting with striking. Now, I got to be honest with you. I have two people for this, and that is Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. And the reason I have two is both of these guys are the best strikers in the division, in my opinion, and they do it very differently. So I thought it was unfair to just say Sean O'Malley or just Petr Yan. Right, with Sean O'Malley, we see a guy that's very long and tall for the weight class. He has really good speed, really good footwork. He has a diverse set of tools that he can use, his front kicks. Sean O'Malley can do it all on the feet. Then, he's more of that flashy striker. He's kind of, when you see him fight, you're like, wow, that's really cool. That's kind of what Sean O'Malley brings to the table, where he relies on eyesight, speed, those types of things. Whereas Petr Yan is another guy that when you watch, you're like, this guy's so technical. I want to fight like that. Like, he just has that look to him where everything looks perfect. And that is why I had to add Petr Yan in here as well and have these guys at a tie. So I would label Sean O'Malley maybe a little bit more unconventional in the way he gets things done, right? It's hard to fight that way. You need specific attributes that apply to you to be able to fight like Sean O'Malley. And depending on your weight class, like if you're a shorter guy, you may not be able to kind of fight like Sean O'Malley because of the different skill sets that he utilizes in order to be good at 135 pounds. As well as Petr Yan is a guy that is a guy I would be taking notes on. If I had to show a young fighter how to be a better fighter, watch Petr Yan. He's so technical. His hands are always where they're supposed to be, and he is just good everywhere. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, the top two strikers in the UFC's Bantamweight Division. Moving on to wrestling. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be so quick to say Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo, mainly Henry Cejudo because the guy's got an Olympic gold medal. Guys, this is MMA. This is not wrestling. The best wrestler at 135 pounds is Merab Dvalishvili. And I feel like it's hard to fight me on this, guys. I mean, from what we saw in his last outing against Petr Yan with Merab Dvalishvili, not only does he have outstanding cardio and endurance and strength, the guy just never gets tired. He has really good takedown ability, right? I mean, we've seen his technique in terms of the wrestling is pretty good. But, what's added into that is the pace, which is the cardio, which that grittiness that a wrestler has. I believe Merab Dvalishvili possesses all of those skill sets. I believe he is the biggest nightmare in the entire division for every single fighter because when I look at 135, I see, well, if this guy fights this guy, he would win. I can see the belt changing hands a lot as long as Merab doesn't get his hands on it. I do believe that Merab has the best wrestling in the division. MMA wrestling, that is. So let's keep moving on here. The most well-rounded fighter in the UFC's Bantamweight Division, I would give that to Corey Sandhagen. Now, I know people are going to say, well, why didn't you add Corey Sandhagen in there as striker? Because, guys, I know Corey Sandhagen has the incredible flying knee. But outside of that, Corey Sandhagen's not hurting people with kicks. He's not really hurting people with his hands. He's just a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. We saw it against Song Yadong. We saw it against Marlon Chito Vera. We saw it against Rob Font. Corey Sandhagen has all the tools in the toolbox now to be able to go toe-to-toe with everyone. He's got great submissions. He has really good striking. He understands the game, his stance switching, distance management, knowing how to win the fight basically by just taking people down, doing what by any means necessary to get the win. That's why I give Corey Sandhagen the most well-rounded fighter award here for this division. You could also argue and say that he has fight IQ, but I have someone different for fight IQ for a few reasons that I'm going to explain here in just a few moments. Okay, moving on to durable. The most durable guy at 135 pounds, I feel like we can all agree, is Marlon Chito Vera. Now, Marlon Chito Vera possesses a lot of other skills, right? But I don't think that he is the best striker. I don't think he has the best grappling. I don't think Marlon Chito Vera is the best at any specific skill at 135 pounds. But what he does possess is a well-rounded skill set that is backed by an incredible chin incredible durability. We really have never seen, Chito Vera in a world of trouble in terms of being hurt. He kind of has that feeling that if we ever saw Marlon Chito Vera get dropped or knocked out or something, like, we would just be sitting there like in awe, because that's how tough Marlon Chito Vera is. The guy's a warrior. You know, when you're going in there against Marlon Vera, it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a dog fight. That's why I give durability to Marlon Chito Vera. Okay, moving on to fight IQ, where I know Corey Sandhagen could have fell into this category, but I feel he's the most well-rounded. But fight IQ, I think we have to give it to Henry Cejudo, right? I know Henry Cejudo isn't the best striker. He does have that Olympic gold medal in his back pocket. He's been a double champ. Like, Henry Cejudo is one of the greatest one of the greatest combat sport athletes of all times, from having that Olympic gold medal, from having all those different credentials, the 2 belts, all these different things. But the guy's got a great YouTube channel. He's got a great mind for the sport. We've seen Henry Cejudo understands how to prepare fighters, which he's done. He's helped Davison Figueiredo. He's helped John Jones. He's helped different guys prepare for fights. And we've seen those guys go out there and win. So obviously Henry Cejudo understands the game. He understands everything very well. That doesn't mean that you have to be the best fighter to do that. Although I think Henry Cejudo is one of the all-time greats. I think when it comes to fight IQ, the guy gets it. He understands. He can break down a fight and see, I see the weaknesses here. Let me exploit that. Let's implement a game plan. I think that we have to give that award to Henry Cejudo. Okay, moving on to submissions. I know he's going up to 145 pounds to take on Calvin Kattar, but Aljamain Sterling, I think we could all say that's pretty fair to label him for submissions. Now, I know, guys, that Aljamain Sterling doesn't have the prettiest striking. He's not the best wrestler, but in terms of MMA grappling, Aljamain Sterling's pretty exceptional, right? I mean, that's how Aljamain Sterling made his money, is getting a hold of guys, taking their back, being the human backpack that he is, submitting guys. He has an excellent rear naked choke. We've just seen a lot of great things in terms of the submission department for Aljamain Sterling. That's how that guy made his money. That's how he got the belt. That's how not how he got the belt. We know how he got the belt against Petr Yan with the illegal knee, but we saw what he did to TJ Dillashaw. We saw his takedown abilities and threatening constantly Petr Yan from his back, threatening that rear naked choke that Petr Yan was very worried about, obviously, in that position. That's why he just didn't scramble back to his feet. So obviously, when you fight Aljamain Sterling, we know the submission threat is going to be a problem. So I would give that edge to Aljamain Sterling. Although, guys, the interesting thing about 135, I don't think we have an outstanding submission specialist at 135 pounds. You can disagree with me on that. Drop below who you think, but that's my take on it. Okay, moving on to footwork. Now, I know I said in the beginning of the video, Sean O'Malley is a guy that we could label as having some of the best footwork. You could make that argument in terms of angle changing, distance management, all those different things. But we already gave Sean O'Malley awards, so we got to go with the legend of the Bantamweight division in Dominick Cruz, right? I mean, the guy sells a footwork program, right? I mean, Dominick Cruz, we know the fancy footwork. His entire style is built around footwork. Everything Dominick Cruz does is footwork, 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 right? I mean, so I feel like we got to give him that award. I know he's not the most durable. He's towards the tail end of his career, but I don't think that there's any denying that. We haven't seen someone come into the UFC with footwork like Dominick Cruz. He was kind of the first of his kind that really kind of brought this sort of into the sport, and his entire style relies on movement and footwork. So I feel like it's fair to give Dominick Cruz that award, and that's why I think that Dominick Cruz does have the best footwork in the division, but I also could see how you could make the argument for Sean O'Malley as well. Last but not least, the most unpredictable fighter at 135 pounds in the UFC is Umar Nurmagomedov. And I know that Umar Nurmagomedov, we wanted to see him take on Corey Sandhagen. We wanted to see all those different things. We're not here to necessarily discuss that. We're here to discuss the fact that Umar Nurmagomedov, obviously his camp, right? We know his camp very well. We know the skills that he already possesses. But to see this guy come out there and have some interesting striking techniques to bring to the table, to have a very diverse skill set, to have a lot of tools in the toolbox. I feel like every time we watch Umar, we just don't know what we're going to get. We don't know if we're going to get some sort of wild kick. We don't know if he's going to be shooting for a takedown, trying to take people down and use that Sambo background to maul people and look for a submission, vicious ground and pound. I feel like every time Umar steps in there, it's a puzzle for the opponent. It's a mystery, just kind of a question mark floating above the cage as to what we don't know what this guy is going to go to in the fight at that time. He's liable to spinning wheel kick and knock someone out, or he's liable to run across the cage, pick them up, dump them on their head. That's why I give unpredictable to Umar, because he's got a lot of tools in the toolbox. Everyone's so quick to label him a sambo guy, a grappler, but at the end of the day, we've seen that Umar has a pretty diverse skill set. But what do you all think? Like this video, comment below, subscribe, help your boy out, and let me know if you disagree with the people that I've labeled for these specific categories and who you would add to these specific categories if you could. But I appreciate you all. See you in the next one.